Okay, if we start with the Adria's main control panel, we just need to touch the screen to turn it on. You'll now see we've all illuminated. If we now press this one, we can turn all the lights on in the motorhome and then turn them all off again. We can also turn them on and off on their own individual switches as well, but it's very handy if you're leaving the motorhome to go out of an evening, and you can just turn them off at this point here. As far as I can see in this motorhome, auxiliary does absolutely nothing. Usually get an extra auxiliary button if you have additional items added to the van. This one here just turns the awning light on and off, and this one turns the water pump on and off. Water pump needs to be on for you to be able to get water out of your taps and fill the boiler up if it's been drained. These icons here give us information. This one is letting us know that we have main supply connected to the van. These two will give us conditions of the batteries, condition of the vehicle battery, and then condition of the leisure battery. This one will let us know how many amps we are actually using. This one lets us know how much water is in the fresh tank, and then this one will let us know how much water is in the waste tank. The last icon lets you know an internal temperature and an external temperature. If we then move down, we then have the controls for the Alde heating and hot water. We turn on just like so, and once we're fired up, you will get this screen just here. This is letting us know that we have main supply connected to the van. This icon here represents the circulation pump and will appear whenever the heating is running. And same again, we're getting an internal temperature and an external temperature. If I now press the menu button, we will bring up the Alde Heating's basic functions. At the top here, we have the thermostat for the heating. Literally just plus and minus, pick whatever temperature we want it to be inside the motorhome. I just need to go into the advanced functions because through the PDI the functions are changed by the workshop, and I need to put the pump back onto thermal. I'll explain that in a moment. So let's say we want it to be 21 degrees in here. Literally select that, and then the Alde heating system will come on and heat up to a nice 21 degrees. After that, we have a little picture of a shower head, and this one is for your hot water. Again, if I then press it, hot water is now on, and it will heat the water up to around 60 degrees. If I press it again, we will then perform a boost on the boiler. Boost is very handy if there's more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other. If you do perform the boost, it will turn the heating off if it is running. After the boost period has ceased, it will then drop back down automatically, or you can turn it down whenever you want, just like I've done. After that, we then have power source. We're currently using mains electricity using 3 kilowatts. We can lower the power consumption to 2 kilowatts or 1 kilowatt, or literally turn it off. This allows us to select a power setting that is suitable for the site that we're on to stop ourselves from tripping. I'll now put it back onto 3 kilowatts. If we don't have main supply, we can use the gas, or alternatively we can do what I've now done and use dual fuel, which is very handy in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. The ACC icon is literally for the workshop. You will not be able to access that. If I now press the cog button, it will pull up all the settings menu. Within this settings menu, you can set timers, etc. You'll see here that we have a moon, which is for a night timer. You'll see at the very top, we can turn the timer on or off. We can then set a temperature that we would like it to be through that period. And then we can set a start time and a stop time. We can also invert the backlight if we want. So basically this grey white screen will change to black and the writing will change to white. And we can also tell the boiler that we do not want any hot water basically produced whilst through the night time. Very handy again if you're wild camping, it will save wasting gas whilst you're asleep. If I now come back out, we can then also set a day timer. It's exactly the same as the night mode. We can set a prioritization for power source. It's currently set to prioritize main supply over gas. So in dual fuel, it will use the electricity and the gas together and then cut the gas off and maintain on the electricity. If you're on a very low amp site, you can make the system prioritize gas over electricity. This one here is literally the brightness of the screen, or we can invert or darken the screen. This particular one is not used on this model. This one, obviously if you're using timers, you need to set the correct time, day of the week, etc. so it knows what it's doing. So we just set it in this part here. If I now arrow down, again, a lot of these ones are only accessible by the workshop. We can access this one, which I will activate in a moment to show you what it actually does. If I now arrow down, this one here is called Antimicrobial. If it's activated and you're using the night mode, at about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, the boiler will then come on and heat up rapidly to kill off any bacteria that may be in it. So you can self-sanitize your boiler. This next one is thermostat offset. So if you don't think the thermostat is quite correct, you can tweak it by 5 degrees each way. High altitude mode. So as it says actually on the screen, if you are 1,000 meters above sea level, activate that and it will basically make the system work due to the air pressure. Whether or not you want it to beep. Delayed start and stop to the system. So instead of having multiple timers, you can just have it so the system, say, fires up at 10 o'clock in the morning and then turns off at, say, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 days later. This one here is pump settings. This is the part I changed at the beginning of the video. Leave it on thermal. That means that the fluid will only go round the radiators as it's required. If you put it on continuous, it will continually go around the system and you will basically not be able to heat hot water. Next we have full factory reset. External start. You can add additional items and control this via a smartphone. Language, service, which again is more for the workshop, but if you press it, it will let you know what everything is up to. So at the moment the ethylene glycol is at 23 degrees and the water temperature is currently heating up and is at 18 degrees. Installed accessories. There isn't a great deal in here that you require. One that you may want to use is this one here, which is load monitor. If I now go back up, you'll now see we can access it. If you arrive on site and you know how many amps it is, you can literally pick, so say you're on a 10 amp site, it then doesn't matter if you're on 3 kilowatts, the system will limit itself to stop you from tripping. As you can see, because it's now an activated function, it's now appeared here for easy access, and then I can turn it back off again. That is the Alde main boiler control. You will also see beside it we have what's known as the heater exchange pump. Basically what you can do is start the engine, so when you're driving, turn this one on, and then your engine will then transfer some of the heat from it to the back of the motorhome, thus warming it up whilst travelling. You can also use it if you've heated up the back of the motorhome while stationary and you're in cold climate, to heat the engine for starting. Not massively needed on these more modern vehicles, but it can be done.